Okay, good morning everybody. This is Rijn Vogelaar from Blauw Research in the Netherlands. I am the Corporate Enthusiasm Officer of Blauw, and I want to take you through my Superpromoter theory. I'm the author of the book The Superpromoter, and I want to explain the theory to you. And I want to start with some paradigm shifts that I think that are taking place in the market research industry. Hopefully I will be able to go to the next slide. Yes, there we are. I think there is a paradigm shift in the sense that we, as market researchers, we're always focusing on the average customer. And I think certainly the developments on social media show us that the average customer is not particularly the most interesting customer. It is the customers who are very angry and the customers who are very euphoric about products. And the same is true for consumers in general. Like we see in the internet, that only a couple of thousand people developed Wikipedia and maintained Wikipedia, while millions of people use Wikipedia. So you see that a very small amount of people are actually running things and making sure that new developments are coming. And I think the same is the same amount of importance is for customers from brands. So you have only have a couple of percentage of your consumer brands who are responsible for your success. And another shift is that we are studying more and more into human behavior as opposed to opinions. In the old days we would ask, do you like this brand? Now we are more focusing on how do you interact, how do you tell your friends about, how do you talk with your friends about this brand. And another important shift, I think, is that we are more concentrating on the subconscious and on the emotional part of our brains and on our behavior than on the ratio per se. No, I want to go to the next slide where I want to explain what superpromoters are, because I particularly focus on superpromoters. They are relevant because, and the superpromoters, the definition of the superpromoters is that they are enthusiastic, they share their enthusiasm, and they actually influence their social environment with their enthusiasm. And it are actually these people who cause growth in revenue and reputation. Obviously this statement is linked towards the Net Promoter Score theory of Fred Reichelt and Set Metrics, where what Reichelt has shown is that the brands or companies with the highest Net Promoter Score show the highest growth in revenue. Well, we have replicated this research in the Netherlands by doing research together with the Erasmus University, where we shown that we followed like 400 companies for a 6-year period of time in the Netherlands, and we saw a correlation between the Net Promoter Score and revenue and even profit. So I think that is something that is quite logical. If you have a lot of people who are so enthusiastic about you that they share their enthusiasm, then your company will obviously profit of it. So that's one point. Another point is that it's very motivating to see your superpromoters. A lot of companies don't even know they're superpromoters because they're only focusing on the problems, they're focusing on the unsatisfied customers and not on the enthusiastic customers. And that is because I think managers are problem solvers. And if you an enthusiastic customer is not a problem, so why focus on your enthusiastic customers? Well, it is very motivational and it will show you your strengths. Because I think because of the focus on unsatisfied customers, a lot of companies don't even know what the strengths are anymore. And that's what I certainly encounter when I work with companies on the Superpromoter. They are actually amazed when they are shown the Superpromoters on film or when they meet them live. Another very positive point is that they are ideal co-creators, and that's because they are actually want to be involved. They have got an expertise in the field, and probably the most important thing is that they have a lot of intelligence about their social network, so they know what their friends like. And obviously, working with Superpromoters is cost saving on R&D, because you can co-create new products, and on your marketing, because you don't have to do mass marketing anymore, and just help your Superpromoters do their share their enthusiasm. Obviously, there's another important group, which are the anti-promoters. They are not just unsatisfied customers. These people are outspokenly negative. They really advise against you. They share the negativity and have influence. So they are the alter ego of the Superpromoters. I think the ultimate battle is between Superpromoters and anti-promoters. The rest of the world will follow them, and the debate between the Superpromoters will make or break your brand, you could say. So you've got an army of Superpromoters, you've got an army of anti-promoters, and well, the strongest army will win and will make sure you either have success or not. So I think this is the battlefield. Why do a lot of companies suffer from superpromoter blindness so much? Because they are focusing on improvement, and I think as a market research industry we have done some damage as well, because actually the satisfaction research we have done for the last 50 years is not actually satisfaction research. It is dissatisfaction research. We are asking people what they think a company should improve, and we are not asking what they are enthusiastic about. And almost none of the questionnaires have space where enthusiastic customers can talk about this. And obviously companies are structured in a way that they only have complaint management and no enthusiasm management. So an enthusiastic customer can't tell a story anywhere. Another thing is that enthusiastic customers are presumed to be loyal, so why would you focus on them? And most of the marketing activities are focused on getting new customers in. And apart from that, certainly in the Western world, enthusiasm is considered a bit naive. I mean, if you look at all the newspapers and all the journalists even tell me that on day one of journalist school, they are taught that bad news is no news, but that good news is no news. So you can see that certainly in the intellectual world, enthusiasm is considered pretty naive. Well, now there's more and more evidence that enthusiasm is actually correlated with business success. So I think it's not naive at all. And even by focusing only on the unsatisfied customers, a lot of employees are getting actually afraid of customers, because they think that customers and problems are the same thing. That's actually classical conditioning, you could say, that when you see a customer you think there is a problem, and that is, I think, because of the way that companies are structured. Well, we are studying enthusiasm on different levels, and I think, I've worked with enthusiasm now for the last year and a half, and I must say that I've learned more about human behavior than I've done in 15 years of market research. Obviously, there's like the big trend in Net Promoter Score and word of mouth research, and this is an interesting trend, and this is a new field. We're only studying this very elaborately, I think for the last 8 years maybe. So there is a lot of things to be learned, because then we are studying interhuman behavior and how people share their enthusiasm on a conscious level. But also, apart from Net Promoter Score, we talk about brands. Apart from recommendation behavior, we talk about brands a lot. The Kellner Fay Group found out in, I think, some fundamental research that we talk about brands 33 billion times a day in the US only. And most of the time we talk positively about brands. So we are sharing a lot of enthusiasm just in our daily talks. Obviously, Mark Earls has written a very interesting book about her behavior, and I think that's the part where we share our enthusiasm on a subconscious level, and that might even be more powerful than the conscious level. And obviously, it's a bit harder to to get research done on that part. But it is very interesting, and every thing you find out is absolutely new information and very helpful for brands. I think. Well, what are the steps to take for companies, and what are we helping companies to do? Is that we help define and find super promoters. You can do that in numerous different ways. You can use panels, you can do telephonic recruitment. We're even working with eBay to find super promoters and define them according to their search behavior on eBay. And if you can find them in that way, you can actually develop new advertising tools where you're not selling products, but actually the goal is to make your customers more enthusiastic about your brand. So, for example, you are looking for a car, and if we know that you are a Mercedes fan or a Mercedes super promoter, we could actually offer you something spectacular from the Mercedes brand, or a gift or whatever, to make sure that you will talk about Mercedes in a positive way even more. So I think there are very interesting times ahead of us where we can develop these kind of new advertising models. Well, obviously it's very interesting to listen to super promoters. Well, we do a lot of qualitative research on that part. For example, for the Heineken brands, Amstel and Brandt and Heineken itself, and where we see that it's very interesting to see that for the different brands we have different kind of super promoters. Some of them, the sharing, it's a very tight circle of friends who are sharing the love of a certain brand, while with other brands you have more of individuals who go in different circle of friends, and you obviously have different ways where the enthusiasm in the way the enthusiasm spreads. And the last part should be to assist your super promoters. You cannot manipulate them, but you can assist them in sharing their enthusiasm, sometimes by explaining a little bit more about your products, and sometimes just helping them by building a website or whatever. And there are a lot of ways to do that. And I mean, certainly Heineken is working very hard to help super promoters share their enthusiasm, sometimes by inviting them to parties, sometimes by giving them a t-shirt before everybody can buy it in the store, just to make sure that they have something to talk about in a lot of the times. Well, I've got some more examples, but I think I'm running a little bit out of time now. So I think I'll end up here, and maybe we have some time for questions.